morning, my dear students. Today we will do the question answers of the selfish giant, the chapter we covered up in our previous class. So now let's move to the question answers. So here are the question answers of chapter 1. So these are the questions with the heading answer these following questions, which is C part. Question number 1 is, why did spring not come to Giant's garden? So here, do you get the idea that why the spring did not come? Because there were no children, isn't it? This was the answer. So here I have got the answer for you. Spring did not come to Giant's garden because there were no children, and hence there was no happiness, right? So this is all about your first. Now here is your next question, and that is, what did frost and snow do in the garden? You remember what did they do? They put more chilling winds in the garden, and they turned the trees into they covered the trees with silver snow. So now here your answer is, the frost and snow made all the flowers wilt and transformed the garden into desolate and unhappy place. That is, turned the flowers wilt, that is, they have made the flowers limbed, not able to grow up, not able to blossom. And then desolate is uninhabited place. So there was no one in the garden. So now there is your third question. Here we go. What made the spring finally visit the garden? So what made the spring finally visit the garden? You have the idea in your mind, and that is, children came back to the garden and there was happiness. So that's why the spring finally visit the garden. So here, and with what that started? With the song of a little bird. So the linnet sang, and the children came to the giant's garden after listening to the song of linnet. Through a hole on wall brought spring in the garden. So this is all about your answer. And then your question number 4 is, how selfish I have been. From this statement we know that the giant has realized his mistake. What was his mistake? What made him realize his mistake? So now let's go ahead with the answer. That is, giant's mistake was that he was being selfish and not allowing the children to let in the garden. So now what happens, and how he has tried to, and what made him realize his mistake is the next part. And what do you feel that what made him realize? Spring made him realize his mistake. The winter made him. You may choose either of the answer. Even the spring, it did not enter the garden. So even the spring could make, or the winter made him realize his mistake, because winter did not leave the garden. So either of the answer is correct. So then moving on to the next one. That is, how do we know that the giant sincerely felt sorry for his action? So now we have talked about that he has realized his mistake. So how he could realize his mistake is the next question, and the answer for this is, the giant got the barricades out from his garden. The notice, the trespassers will be prosecuted. He has got that out from his garden, and he started playing and enjoying with children. He also kept his garden open to all, which shows he was sorry for his action. So now the garden there is happiness all around. So this is the scene. So now the D part of the questions. So now let's move on to the question number 1 of part B. Is there a moral in this story? If yes, what is it? Yes, of course, we are getting morals from the story, and here I am there with the answer. So that is, morals of the story are that sharing create happiness, and that when someone shows kindness to even the tiniest or the smallest creature, then what we are doing? We are preserving something sacred. We are preserving something good. So this is the answer for question number 1. So now here we go with our question number 2. What do spring and winter symbolize in this story? So now what do you feel that they symbolize? The spring symbolizes the present happiness. It is a symbol of present happiness, whereas on the contrary, winter is the symbol of past. Winter is the symbol of past sufferings. So now here it is denoted by these two terms. And now with this we are over with our question answers. We'll meet up tomorrow again.